Good morning. It's May 24th, 2016, and I'm out before the sun. It's just starting to come up behind me. There's some clouds in the sky, thankfully. Today the temperature is going up to 82. Tomorrow, mid-80s, and pretty much the rest of the week, mid to upper 80s. So this lettuce is going to start bolting. So I'm going to cut it now before we hit our first big 80-degree stretch. This is the black-seeded Simpson. This is my most fragile lettuce, if you want to call it that. Cut and weigh, and we'll go from there. Still a little groggy, half asleep. Basically, want to make sure you have a sharp knife, obviously. As close to the ground as you can. And you cut. So remember, I put in 12 heads of this. I was going through my records. This was started on March 1st, indoors. I'm sorry, March 10th. Apologize. Still a little groggy. Looks like it's doing pretty good. Now when you cut lettuce, you'll see a little bit of a milky white residue. That's okay if it's low in the plant. When a plant starts to bolt, it gets higher in the plant, and usually it is very bitter at that point. That's why I'm cutting it now. The goal is not to let this stuff bolt. That's a fine looking head of lettuce. That's a very fine looking head of lettuce. Now, I've not used anything on these. I've not even sprayed these with neem yet. If they were going to be here a few more weeks, I probably would have. So I see there are some ants walking around. I'm sure there's going to be a couple ants inside of them. Not much you could do to stop the ants. The ants are mostly in there to try to start farming aphids. The aphids are the ones that eat your leaves. And that looks like it. Nice decent pile of lettuce. Gonna take it now and weigh it. Let me show you the nice little pile we've got. Not a lot. I've only got 12 heads, but it's definitely something. Okay, I've just placed every head of lettuce I've just cut, and we have 44.75 ounces on the scale. Let me just make sure we're... Yep, 44.75. So that'll be a little over about a pound and a half. Almost 2 pounds and a half, almost 3 pounds. And what you're looking at here are the fruiting tips on the canes of the raspberries. They're just starting to put these little tips out. They got a way to go still. Once these tips are out, they'll put out their flowers. Flowers got to get pollinated, then you finally get some raspberries. I'm thinking probably mid-June we'll see some raspberries. With this heat coming now, the next few days I think things are really going to start moving. So they kind of have been moving. I've definitely noticed a lot of growth in the garden in the past week, especially with things like the peas got taller and the tomatoes are starting to really look like they're coming back to life. let's go in and see what else we've got in the garden. I can take this shot every day. Blueberries, good clusters. They're looking great. I've apparently had some pretty good pollination on them for them to be coming out like this. This is my Rika. I sprayed these with BT early last week, and the reason why, let's see if I could zoom in on it. May have to reapply next week. Alright, these little guys. These caterpillars are everywhere and they're terrorizing everybody's trees. These are, I'm not sure if they're just tent caterpillars or gypsy moths, but either way, they're not what I want to see. When I came out a couple days ago, these things were covered in these gypsy moths. I'm presuming they're gypsy moths because there's gypsy moths everywhere. And I came out and I mean basically under every leaf on every one of these blueberry bushes were gypsy moths, so I went a little spray happy with the BT. I followed directions as required, and I've definitely noticed a big drop in the number of caterpillars on the bottom of leaves. It's much different than it was 4 days ago. But I think there still are a few stragglers. BT is a natural way to pretty much kill the caterpillars. It affects their stomach, and what happens is they pretty much don't want to eat anymore, and they just die. It's pretty much how to describe it. Let's see what we have in the rest of the garden. And you're now looking at the red onions. Next to the lettuce I just cut. I had to hill these up a little bit yesterday because they all started coming out of the ground. I don't really know why. I mean, I know an onion's supposed to hang a little bit out with the tippy top, but they were literally just getting pulled out of the ground. I don't know if it's birds doing it or just the weather and the dirt got in a way where it just kept washing away until the onion was mostly exposed, but they are now back under. I did notice that they don't really have much of a bulb yet on them, but it's coming. And now you can see the rest of my lettuce. You could actually read the Butter Crunch sign. The Butter Crunch I have here, I have 4 of them. Behind them I have 4 red leaf and 8 romaine, but I think I lost 2 of them. And the Shanghai Pak Choi is behind that. And they are doing pretty good. I'm going to probably be cutting the red leaf next. Romaine probably soon also, because this weather's going to start making things bolt. If they were used to the 60s and 70s, I would say maybe I'll see if I can get lucky with them. But I mean, we've had temperature swings all over the board this month. I mean, we were 29 3 weeks ago, and now we're going to be 89, near 90 in another 2 days. So it's crazy. Let's head over now to the radishes and the daikon, which, sorry about that, which have definitely shown some good growth. Here's the daikons. These are a white Asian radish, and they stand out pretty well. I don't think the weeds got much of a chance to take over these things yet. And behind that I have my cherry bell radishes, and they're also coming on pretty quick. And can't wait to start having a few of those. Not a big radish eater, but when you want one, you want a fresh one. And they're tomatoes. These are the super sweets we have. This one looks good. And basically, going down the line, they all look good. Including my last one, which is a Snow White cherry. That's a white cherry tomato. And the other 2 there are yellow pear. So I have a total of 5 super sweet, and then 2 yellow pear and 1 white cherry, Snow White cherry. And next we're going to head over to the strawberries. Try to make this as gentle of a trip as possible. I could stop the video, but I'd just rather keep it nice and easy. And I want to make sure you see these. These are green strawberries. They've been pollinated and they're working their way to becoming good edible strawberries. One that just got pollinated, starting to get green on that one. And I still got a lot of flowers. I am going to basically cut these runners. I'm going to cut the runners and probably wait until July before I start saving the runners. And I'll put the runners in containers and start more rows. Well, they're going to be in containers this year until the fall when I expand the garden. I'm taking the garden back another 25 feet. It's going to make this a lot more of a bio-intensive garden, but we're going to have a lot more of a harvest next year. Good stuff is coming. I've got it all worked out in my head and somewhat on paper. Strawberries looking good. These puppies are not going to be moved. There's going to be some changes coming to the garden, but these puppies are not going to get moved at all. And the other strawberries are looking the same. Definitely going to stick with plastic for the strawberries. I mean, the straw looks nice, but it's just the weeds just keep coming through it, and I pick and I pull and they just keep coming. They aren't doing so great coming through the plastic, obviously. And now we'll go to our beans. These are my wax beans. They are pencil pod. They're a black seeded wax bean. They're going to be really tasty. And they're right along the pea fence. And you don't see as many in the beginning until you get toward about halfway down the row, and then you start seeing a bunch of them sticking out there. And I can't wait to start picking those. Once we get the lettuce all out, I'm probably going to start some beans there. And then once we get the radishes out, I'm probably going to start some summer lettuce there. As you saw earlier where I had the lettuce and the radishes. And now I'm going to take us back to the other tomatoes, as well as all of our brassicas, which are growing like wheat. Okay, we are now looking at the other side of the pea fence. And over here my peas are doing much stronger and the weeds are doing a little bit weaker, but weeds are still a big problem this year with my peas, and I'm not really sure why they want to be such an issue this year, but I'm trying to come up with a better way to do peas. I am really thinking about the technique I'm seeing in a lot of garden centers where they're selling packs of peas that are pre-grown. Seems like they're grown for maybe about a week, and then they tell you to put them in. They're about maybe 3-4 inches high. I know you're not supposed to transplant peas, so I'm presuming they're making sure they're not getting too many roots before they transplant them, because it'll probably just kill them. But that'll be something to try next year. And the beans, these are the tender green. They are not doing good at all. No idea why, but I'm gonna probably have to replant these. I've got maybe 6 or 7 bean plants in total in that whole row. Now I'm gonna pan out, and this is my Bush Early Girl tomato. Once this hot and humid weather comes, she is going to be growing like crazy. I see it coming. And behind that I have Boxcar Willies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Boxcar Willies. This is an older style heirloom tomato. I'm not sure how well it's going to work out. Honestly, I've never even tried one of these yet, so either way, it's going to be an adventure. And lastly, I'm going to go all the way to the back of the garden and show you my big boy tomato I've put in. And I purchased at a store, and he's going to be doing fine once this heat kicks in, which should be later today. And now I'm going to pan back out, and let's take a look at our brassicas. These are our broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and Brussels sprouts in the back. Broccoli's looking very good. That's the Calabrese. looking very good. And once you get about halfway down the row, we have the Romanesco, which I really hope gets a move on, because I was hoping to submit it to the fair. Just because I don't think I've ever seen Romanesco broccoli anywhere, I think it would probably be a very neat item to submit to the fair. Okay, and now I'm going to show you the kale on the right side. For baby kale, it could be picked right now. I'm probably going to let it get a little bigger and then start picking some leaves off of it. I don't think there's any big rush though with the kale. And the cauliflower, it's just getting very leafy. And as you could probably see, the onions up the middle, the weeds are getting a little annoying with it. Kind of hard to pull weeds out of onions because they just try to intertwine with the onion bulb. But I got to get that done for sure. Last but not least, well, actually more than last but not least, we got a few more things. Keep forgetting that I've finished getting everything in the garden the past couple days. Let's go to our peppers and eggplants. Eggplants are on the left. These are Black Beauties. I just put them in Saturday, so they've got a bit of a way to go to start growing. Looks like they're getting acclimated just fine. Got a ways to go though. Let me pan up the lane for you. And once you get about halfway up, it's all of my California Wonder bell peppers. And they've probably got a ways to go too to get acclimated, because they were also put in on Saturday. And on the right, I have the sweet banana peppers. I did lose one or two of them. I replaced them with store-bought ones, so they're looking pretty good. And my fushimi peppers, I still fear that I've lost a couple with the freeze. I have no way to replace them, so once they're completely dead, which it looks like that one there is pretty much there. The fifth one in. I don't know how well you could see it. Let me zoom in on it. I have a zoom for a reason. This one here, it looks like it's pretty much bit the dust. It's going to have to get pulled out, and I'm going to probably just replace it with the bell pepper from a local nursery. But all in all, I will say that I thought I lost all of them. Some of them are looking like they're making a little bit of a comeback. And now you're looking at cucumbers. These are bush cucumbers, salad bush if you want the exact variety. And I put these in on Saturday as well, and basically in the middle of a rainstorm. I hope the water would help. Nothing like watering a cucumber while you're planting it. And they're in. I think they're just going to take a little bit of time to get established. I have 4 of them. Let's move down the line and see the other thing I planted on Saturday. This is the final thing to show you. And these are the Sugar Baby watermelons. These are a bush Sugar Baby, so hopefully they won't get too big. I bought 4 of these plants, and I put them in on Saturday because I feared that I lost most of my watermelon, which I believe I lost 3 or 4 of them. The other ones are doing okay though. There's another one that I put in, and I will say that they have grown since I put them in. I think this weather's exactly what they wanted. And here's one of my early starts. I lucked out with the freeze on this one and one of the other ones because the plastic blew over it and froze on top of it. The plastic actually protected it. And I'll pan over to the rest. And those last 2, and I got some weeds that I've got to kill, some grass trying to grow in. But that should be okay because I'm on plastic, so the watermelon shouldn't be too bothered by it. And that, my friends, is the garden as of today. Plus you got to see a little bit of a lettuce harvest.